where it was going.
How you doing? I'm good. How's Neil? Yeah? I haven't seen him forever.
Do you know he's in New York now?
No, what's he doing there?
He's the director of the Woodstock Museum in Bethel Woods.
You had to do this last time you were there.
Check you out.
You didn't do any of this.
You've had shirts for a while.
I'm not gonna lie. No, but I think it's a good thing.
Again, it's showing progress that we have more people that are running and just people actually have to do stuff. I tell Terry, he has all the t-shirts, he's running this like it's a huge political campaign for City Columbus.
I think there's some. I think there's
the first time we've ever done it.
I know. It's a go figure. Put me on the spot like this. It's great.
Oh
Yeah, so Lauren's missing, and she had a family emergency. Yeah, she really wanted to be here, but
because
she couldn't.
The young guy that won it. Who's that kid that
I think she has
he lives
some prepared, answers to some questions.
Right there.
I apologize in advance if my daughter cries during anyone's time to speak. You can deduct that from my time. Yeah.
Can you tell her? Wait till this.
By the time it gets to me, I'll just have no time whatsoever.
Did you bring us in?
I did.
Test.
Okay.
Can you hear it? Test.
You retired like how many years ago?
2013 or something
Is it about August 10?
No, 17.
2017. Awesome. Yeah, not too far. Marysville. Association. Chamber of Commerce.
You guys can keep talking.
Thank you.
Still have
5 minutes.
7 minutes.
You want one?
No, I try to get more water. You knocked me out.
Oh, did they? So you can see. I kind of like it.
Oh, it did?
We had two leaves.
Hey, I think that's excellent.
When the mayor left and Darren Lee left, him and Jody moved to mayor.
The big time.
Him and Lauren took over those 2 seats.
Oh, okay.
But it's
Thank you so much.
video wise or just audio?
That's not I saw him up here.
So it's like that's the camera up there. So if I got it. Does it zoom in? No, I think.
Oh my God. Are you all
Yeah, it's my wife and my 2 kids.
See,
I think
you
they
guys can
signed
do
your
that. I can't.
petition. We sound like everyone.
My wife said,
People running against
"Keep
me.
me pregnant?" No. I said, if I don't know what I want to say, then I should be for me. I mean, I've done this enough. I've done this
It's
enough.
very refreshing to have like these not being run unopposed.
So,
Like
if
no
my
matter
boss
what
would
happens,
let me, yeah, I would do that.
someone that's like passionate and cares.
It's what I'm comfortable doing. I'm not a typical engineer.
And or struggle because their spouses have diabetes and it's a family.
But this way it's not, it's no matter what, someone's passionate and cares and, is working for it as opposed to like an unopposed situation. So I think that can only be seen as a benefit. And all of this can really only see as a benefit for Plain City.
We're at.
Oh, 6:30 is when dinner is.
benefit,
It's at
but a
the
benefit
Plain City Presbyterian Church. course, you're welcome to come along, but, yeah,
Depends on what night it is.
Thursday, maybe, if that's a golf night or not.
Looking at Renee's.
It's a Thursday.
What day? 14th? It is a golf day with Tanya.
I'm full.
So I might be done early though. Yeah, that is a golf day.
Sherry-
Start being
I was hoping to see if you look
That's out.
Yeah,
Today's Sherry's
That's out your neck of the woods.
Yeah, we're gonna go to, we're gonna go and, golf for,
No better way to
You
celebrate.
don't, you don't look nervous, Jake.
IPA meeting?
You don't look
Yeah.
nervous.
Good actor.
This is fine arts coming. This is fine arts experience. We're gonna get everybody in here. It's getting tight.
Just gotta get it different.
I hope so. It'd be a nice problem to have, to pull it into.
Secretly, I still prefer it.
Freeman.
If we had another
3 minutes
one,
to
we could sneak over there and not have to have
Four right there.
Maybe I'll put my mask on right before they put the cameras on. I think we'll be good.
There's a great volleyball match going on in high school right now.
Oh, is there who they?
Oh yeah, London's playing. All London to win this one.
That should be good.
We play tomorrow night. We should win, and then the championship is Saturday morning, and at the high school. So we're hosting this year. So I was telling them, I said, if we win tomorrow night, I'm flooding social media with. I want people out there to see these. My girls are playing so high level right now.
Wow, that's awesome, isn't it? So what's your record?
18-3.
Oh wow, that's
We've only lost we lost to Northridge twice. They've got a girl that's unbelievable. Like as someone put it,
I think we should just.
you have the
start-
best
when they
team.
start
You have the best
asking
13 girls we've
questions,
seen in
go
the
right to
league, but
left
they
or
have the
left to
best
right,
girl,
or
and which is true. They have this one girl that's just
select who goes.
she's very very good, and they give her the ball 75% of the time.
what's her last name?
Start that way and go.
I don't know what her last name. She's out in Northridge, out of Kenton Ridge area.
Yep.
But I've
And
got
when
just
Jim's finished, then we can
phenomenal athletes.
Lauren.
Like Ava Francis' little sister, Allie Hayes, is on my team.
Then we'll go into
Lisa Wilson's daughter, Audrey's on my team. A lot of my kids have brothers and sisters in the school district.
1:42.
Shannon.
4, 5, 6,
You can do
40
Well, I'll do it.
15 minutes just for these 3 questions. So yeah, you're right on time.
You're out? Yep, thanks for your help.
Leslie, I don't have my phone.
We got to remember to close this door.
We got our instructions.
Can't be her answer.
I don't know. I don't know. Is he here?
You're on.
I guess I am.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming, number one. It's great to see so many people in attendance. I'm Jenny Grill, local business person, Grill Insurance Agency, and active in Plain City Business Association. So Ms. Carney, so kindly asked if I would moderate the meeting this evening. So appreciate everyone in attendance, and thank you so very much for coming. Derek is also here as well. Derek Gibson is with Plain City Business Association and current president. And I've asked if he would just take a couple minutes to let you know what PCBA is all about, what we do, and why we're here tonight.
Thanks, Jen. So as Jenny said, I'm Derek Gibson, president of the Plain City Business Association. We're part of the Union County Chamber, which is headed up by Tanya Woodruff. She's happy to be here, our director. She does a great job. Linda Peter, she's our vice president. Heidi, who's a member of ours, who just left. Obviously, Jenny. So we meet the fourth Wednesday of the month at the Drew Dutchman, and it starts at 8 o'clock. Breakfast is usually included. So any business owner or business entity that rolls up under the chamber is welcome to join. And we typically have speakers come in. We have a joint meeting this October 27th. So the 27th we'll have a joint meeting where all of the chamber from the different divisions will meet, and Chad Hoffman, the president of the Richwood Bank, will be our guest speaker. So if anybody's interested in joining that, you can see myself or Tommy, we'd love to have you come in. And again, welcome everybody for being here. I'll turn it back over to Jen. She's going to be our this evening. And we'll learn about the candidates. Thank you so
So
much.
in case you didn't see, we did have agendas out on the front table if you'd like to have one. Tanya, maybe would you just kind of circulate those around in the event that you would like to see one. So we're going to go ahead and get started by asking the candidates, and these things will be timed, but the first option for you to speak is in regards to an opening statement from each of you. And basically, we would like to hear, to have you tell us about yourself, why you're running for city council, and anything that you would like us to know that might help us decide who we would like to vote for when the time comes. Would you like to go ahead and start, Michael, please?
Sure. Oh, there's a hand up. Oh, they're asking for an agenda. So I'm Michael Terry, member of City Council since October. And the reason I'm running is pretty easy. They're sitting back there in the corner, my wife and my 2 kids. My children are going to grow up. They're going to be from Plain City. I'm from Cleveland. They're going to look back and they're going to grow up next to your kids and your grandkids. And, you know, I got involved with local politics a little bit about 4 years ago when Mayor Lane had asked me to be on the Personnel and Finance Committee after learning about my experience working in finance and accounting for 14 years. I did that for, you know, a good solid year, and I got the opportunity to be on the Charter Commission with a few of the members up here, and that really opened up my, you know, eyes to what the village is all about and how the village runs. Right at the tail end of that, I got asked to fill a vacancy on council, and that's where I've served since October, and I'm just getting started, and I'm really ready to lead us into the future. I have a lot of great plans, and in the last year, I've really been trying very hard to, you know, hit that ground running and really put my best effort forward for this village and the citizens of this village.
Well, thank you so very much. James, would you like to go next?
Yes,
please?
my name is James Sins, and I am a 14, almost 15-year resident of Plain City. Moved here in 2007, May of 2007, from Columbus with my wife and 2 kids. And within a few months of living here, we fell in love with Plain City. My wife is from a small town in Illinois. I'm from Columbus, grew up in Columbus, and we were looking for a place to live that didn't have helicopters flying over our heads every day, where we were living in Columbus, and a good school district. And we came here and, man, fell in love and have stayed in love with this place for the whole 14 years. We have a great neighborhood that we live in and great neighbors. I see some of them here tonight. I am running for council for primarily because my neighbors, some of my neighbors and some of the local residents approached me and said, we think you should run for council. We think you would be a good member of council. You're a consensus builder. You're level-headed. You care about the community. You care about your neighbors. And we would like to see somebody with that kind of care, not to say anything against anyone that's on council at all, but that there was a vacancy. Too bad I went the wrong direction. The 2-year round. I didn't realize that wasn't where the vacancy was. So, but that's why I'm running. And I have some great, I want to be part of both the growth, and we hear and read a lot about responsible growth, but I also just want to be part of the process that makes it happen and work with a good group of people.
Thank you for that.
Perfect. Right at time.
Thank you for that introduction, Rochelle.
Hi, my name is Rochelle Pellegrin, and most of you know me as Shelly. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have 2 boys. One's in college at Columbus State, the other is a freshman at Jonathan Alder High School. I've been employed at Dublin Methodist Hospital for over 14 years. I love Plain City. Absolutely love Plain City. A little bit about me, some of the ways I like to be involved in giving back to the community. I was featured Business First magazine for the American Heart Association. I raised over $3,600 for the association, and I am in charge of the Dublin Hospital Fun Squad, where we create fun and boost morale for our employees right now, because it's a very trying time at our hospital. So we give back by bringing Santa Claus and Easter Bunny and cookies and all that good stuff. And I organized 2 parades. One was even 28 minutes long. So that was good. Being involved has also inspired me to run for city council. Like I said, I love Plain City. I love what it's about, and I'm excited to get my feet into this and just get down. The reason why I'm running for council is I want to ensure all members of this community that they have a voice in the decisions that are being made. My objective is to balance the growth of the community while maintaining the environmental and the feel of the residents' desire. I vow my leadership to be respectful, polite, differential to all opinions and viewpoints.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Sherry.
Hello, I'm Sherry Heinemann. My husband Tom and I were both born and raised in Plain City and have raised 2 kids here. Most of my family are still here or fairly close. I've been a member of council for 4 years, and I'm the council representative on the Park and Recreation Committee. And I'm running for re-election to continue to be a part of building Plain City's future. Thank you.
Thank you. Tyler.
Hi, I'm Tyler Harriman. My wife, Catherine, and I, we have 2 great kids who've been in their entire academic career here in town. My son's in 7th grade. My daughter's in 3rd grade, so we're heavily involved in that side. We moved out here to Plain City back in January of 2014 to get our kids into this community. Currently, I'm the chief pilot for a company headquartered in Columbus. I've been with them for 5 years. I graduated from Bowling Green State University, majoring in aviation. And I'm running for council because, just like everybody here, we love this community. We want to get involved and give back. It's obvious that change is going to be happening here, and I want to be here in Plain City to make sure that Plain City doesn't lose this identity that we have, that we all love, and just keep this town just as great as it's been.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. Miss Carrie.
Yes, my name is Carrie Ferguson, and my family, my husband and my kids, we've lived here for 17 years in Plain City. For those of you who may not know me, I'm a co-owner and operator of Main Street Treasures. It's a business in Uptown Plain City. I've been on several boards. Most of it has to do with the business relationships that we have, through 13 years, as we've grown as a business. So I've served on the board of the Madison County Chamber of Commerce. We're current members of Madison and Union County Chambers of Commerce, as well as Plain City Business Association. So I had the privilege of also serving as a Plain City Village Council member from 2015 through 2019. And I was honored to serve as president of council for the 2 years of 2018 and 2019. While I was on council, I served as part of the steering committee for the comprehensive plan for Plain City that was adopted at the end of 2018. I was privileged to have Michael Terry with me on the Personnel and Finance Committee as well. And with council, we worked on an employee compensation survey, which was adopted by council, and it's helped hopefully with retaining employees in the village, and hopefully we'll keep building on that in the future. So I feel that I bring experience, having already served on council. I know what it's like to be part of this board and how much work that it takes. Community involvement is super important to me. It's invaluable. It's very rewarding. And I absolutely, along with everybody else, love this town. I love my neighbors, my friends, and business community. Thank you.
Perfect timing. There is an alarm that goes off. Hi, I'm Jimmy Daly. My wife and 6 kids moved out to this community 14 years ago, and it was the best decision we ever made. From being in this community to the schools, I can't say enough about the school district that's here. It has been fantastic for my kids. They've grown up so much that we only got one left. We only got one left at home now. I am a civil engineer. I design bridges and roadways for a living. For the last probably 4 or 5 years, I've been the project manager in our office and leading our bridge division where we're at. So I know for the last couple of years, I've had to deal with funding. I've had to go with planning. I've had to do with not just design, but also planning of these structures that we've had to do. Why do I want to run? I would love to be part of this area and see the future of this community go from a village to a small city. That's going to happen with the new census that's going to be, and that's a big transition that's going to happen for this area. And we need to have people that might know how to deal with that. Every day I deal with communities, municipalities, villages, helping them find funding. I have a grant writer in our office, and he's been teaching me all the ins and outs of how to do it. I want to see what we can do. We moved out here for, as everyone said, a small town feel, and I see that. And sometimes we see that growth is coming. It's going to happen, but we need to have that balanced and responsible growth and controlled growth, both residential and commercial, and that's what we're looking for. I've sat on, in my 14 years I've been here, I've been lucky enough to be able to sit on some boards and some committees. The Design Review Board for 3 years, sat on the Parks and Rec for 2, and enjoyed all those activities that are there. One of the things I'm doing right now, I've been coaching 8th grade volleyball for 5 years here in Jonathan Alder, and love that area. And so, why do I want to run? I want to see this community grow, and I want to see it grow responsibly, and I want to be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have another response. Lauren, what is that? Giano is unable to be with us today. She had a family emergency, but she did prepare a statement, which, Derek, if you wouldn't mind reading that for us.
I apologize for my absence tonight. However, an emergency requires me to be with my family currently. Know that I was looking forward to meeting all of you and discussing our great village and why I'm running to remain on the village council. Why I'm a dedicated public servant, family comes first. Family is why my husband and I moved to Plain City for a little over 2 years ago. We're looking for a great place to raise our 1-year-old son, and we found that here in Plain City. As you know, Plain City has great parks, schools, and a real sense of community, all things that drew us to this quiet village. After moving here, the sense of community immediately made us want to get involved. My husband quickly filled a seat on the village's Park and Rec Committee, and I was appointed to an open council seat a little over a year ago. I wanted to help ensure a vibrant future for Plain City for many generations to come, and serving on village council has provided me that opportunity. It's important to me that the village can thrive and remain a great place to raise family. To do so, the village must remain in its own entity by encouraging responsible growth. Villages just like ours are dying all over the country, and we need to make sure that we have a plan to attract and keep families in our community. We must improve our infrastructure to ensure that it can handle the growth. We also need to continue to support our police force and fire department that keeps our village safe. With my background as a state employee for 10 years, I feel it's a natural fit to put what I have learned in that role towards being on council. My experience working with local governments has given me an experience in budget, formation, and infrastructure. Along with my background, I have a heart to serve. I grew up in a church we're lucky to call Rock City Church in Hilliard. Therefore, I volunteer in both the kids program and the youth programs, pouring into the next generation. My heart for serving makes me want to be involved in the community and give Plain City my best, which is what it deserves from each and every one of us. I look forward to seeing all of you around the village, and thank you for consideration as you choose who's best to lead Plain City in the future. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Yours truly, Lauren DeCamp Jump.
Well, Mayor, if you would please tell her we wish her well with whatever the future emergencies are, and appreciate her being able to give us a response of sorts. Our first question, which everyone was shared with everyone, I think it's fair to say each of us would agree there are many hot topics we could discuss this evening. But why don't you tell us what your overall vision is for the village of Plain City? And you will have 2 minutes to respond.
Start with me?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So we are a village in the midst of change, and that can be uneasy for longtime residents, for new people trying to fit in. And my vision is basically for the quality of life that brought anyone here either yesterday, 5 years ago, or 20 years ago to remain. And for me, the best way to do that is through self-determination on our own merits, on our own goals, on how we grow. That's why while I've been on council, we've been pushing so hard to retain our own sewer treatment plant so that when we do grow, if we grow and when we grow, it will be up to us. And the quality of life that brought everyone here, like I said, if you came here yesterday, came here 10 years ago, or you were born here, that's what my vision is to maintain that quality of growth. And as we grow, make sure that my children, your grandchildren get to enjoy the same quality of life that we all enjoy today. That's my vision.
All right, thank you so much. James?
That was really short. Give me enough time.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
So as I went around door to door and collected signatures to get on the ballot, the number one question that was asked by, well, two questions that were asked by everybody that I interacted with was, why are you running? What's your vision, this question, for Plain City, and what's your platform, right? Those are the two questions. And in just about every single conversation, I turned that back around. And I asked that back to the folks asking me. And I did that because I didn't have an answer, but also because I wanted to hear what those people who were going to sign my petition and potentially vote for me, what their vision for Plain City was. And one particular vision that stuck out, and forgive me if this is an inappropriate word, but they said, I want to live someplace that doesn't suck. And I was like, does it suck now? And they're like, no, it's great. I love this town. I love this town. And we're going through all kinds of growth, and things are changing. And I'm on the community forums, and people are complaining. And there's so much division. There's so much angst. And I want to live someplace where we can be unified and share share our common ideas and get along with each other, but also deal with the growth that's coming and deal with it in such a way that we don't lose longtime residents and we still attract people. This is a fun place to visit, to make it a fun place to visit, to make it a great place to live. And so my vision, I haven't been on council. I don't know all. I have been reading over lunch for the last couple of weeks. I have been reading the Charter Commission, and there's a lot of words in that. And just trying to get a handle on what the business of Plain City. I'm not shy to business. Right now I manage a department over at the. I'm done.
Can you have some?
Can I have some of his time?
Yeah, you can have some.
Well, hold that thought because it may be a part of a future question to come. Shelley, how can we?
Well, in the
hear from
past
you?
2 years, there's been many changes in the town, and while many of these changes have been positive and refreshing to the community, my desire is to make sure the growth in community is regulated and maintained in our small town atmosphere. Myself, as many have grown to be here. I want to make this place better, not bigger. That's what I really want. I want Plain City to grow in a sense, but I also want to keep the small town feel here in Plain City. It's why I love Plain City. I've been here over 25 years. I grew, I love it. I grew to love this place. I really want to see this place just thrive.
Thank you.
Well, I hope everybody wants to be like me and never want to leave. I want to continue to see in all the improvement projects that downtown's coming alive and to be a place that people can come and enjoy. And I hope that with the new housing coming in that everyone welcomes our new residents and doesn't make them feel like they're not wanted here. All I got.
Okay, so my overall vision, so the next council, they need to make sure that our village and our administration that we have are prepared for all the planned communities that are slated to come. They're all listed on the website. Obviously Darby Fields is in with their 250 houses, Darby Station that they're doing 350 acres, Madison Meadows 104 acres, Oak Grove 98 acres, 235 lots. The run at Hoffbauer 100 homes across the park. Madison Meadows Phase 2, another 79 acres. The Hamlet on the Darby for 55 plus housing community, and then Jefferson Village, just South Administration Building. These are all the planned communities that are on the website that looks like it's coming. I want to work to make sure that our infrastructure is in place for all of this growth. We need to work to continue all the improvements that are happening in downtown and to address the needs that are going to be coming. We're going to need to address the needs such as the parking, our sidewalks, and additional paths around the village to connect everything. I want us to keep that small town feel that we all of us up here have been talking about. And we also need to support our local businesses. We also need to be prepared to welcome and add new businesses to the community. And we need to prepare to expand out on 161 before Dublin starts expanding out this way.
Very good, thank you. Ms. Carrie?
Well, we moved to Plain City because it is a small town. It was closer to my husband's work, so that's how we ended up here, like a lot of you. Really hasn't grown a lot in the time that we've been here. However, I mean, it is going to change, and we need to embrace a lot of the changes. Quality of life to me means safety and health. We do have one of the finest police departments around, and so we need to keep investing in our local law enforcement as well. You know, as well as through our public works department. So we need to spend taxpayer dollars wisely when we're making decisions for our water, sewer, roads, and for future infrastructure that's going to be, you know, much needed in the short future ahead of us. But no matter how big that our land kind of grows out as we annex, I think we need to retain our small town feeling. And I think this really can be accomplished by making planful decisions, by listening to our residents, and, you know, also by just doing what's best for our community when we're listening to people. So that's my plan.
Very good, thank you, Carrie. And Jim?
Last. Like all the statements that would have been made so far, and my vision when I look at how this city is growing, and it is a small city already. Biggest thing I think that I see that we need support is in our infrastructure. You've laid out all the developments that are coming, and we need to make sure that infrastructure can be there. That infrastructure has to be in place already for when those homes are here, so we make that growth, and we have that. For 3 years, I worked for an engineering firm where I did wastewater and wastewater treatment plant design. And so on top of the roads and bridges that I've done, I've got that background as well that goes into that. I've been to our plant before. I've toured it. It does need help. It does need expansion. I know it's coming. I know it was posted today, wasn't it? That there's something that they're testing the water today. Fantastic. That's what we need. I think one of our biggest things we need right now is make sure infrastructure can support this growth that we're having. And the other thing that I think, you look around on any Saturday or Sunday, you see all the cyclists that are around and going through, but they're just riding through. Why not make this a destination place? Have a hub. I've talked to Parks and Rec in Columbus, because that's one of my clients that I have, and they want to put a hub out here someplace or somewhere near here. Why not make it here in Plain City? It would bring people here, and then they would stay here possibly and go to local businesses and support them and help them. We could connect Heritage Trail and with Darby Grace or Darby out Dublin Grace. We can go out there. We can connect those two. Bring the people here for that. That's another thing that I'd like to see happen here. The last thing I'd like to see happen is development of a business and technology district up on 142, up on 42, that right up past 161. All that field that's there owned by one owner. Let's help him. Put a TIF together. Put the utilities to his doorstep and help him make that development there. We're on the transportation corridor that ODOT Tech has done. They labeled this as transportation corridor. Well, that's a perfect opportunity. We can have businesses here. Sorry. People can live here and work here.
Yes, I understand. Well, so that the audience is aware, the first question, the candidates were available to them in advance. This next question was not available to them in advance, so that we will see how the responses are from there. So the second question, the second question we have is, as we look around Plain City, we see that growth is on the horizon and businesses continue to expand, and there's never enough parking to accommodate the citizens who are trying to visit downtown. How would you tackle the landscape to make sure there's ample parking for everyone? I'm going to reverse order at this point. Jim, if you would like to go first on that one.
Sure. Yeah, parking is an issue. Just go downtown any Friday or Saturday night and you can see it happens. The city has actually done some work behind, I can't remember what the plaza is, right downtown, right next to you. What? Lovejoy's Plaza. And so they've tried to enhance that a little bit, but we need more than just that. Well, if you look around downtown near where the water towers are, where we used to have our zoning and building, maybe there's an opportunity we can use that land and put a parking in there a little more. It's a short walk to downtown, but that might enable a little bit more parking that's there. Revamp the little downtown corridor that we've got right through there to make that parking available. I don't know if we want to put more parking on the street. I don't think we want to do that. We got to find ample other areas to put that parking in. And we got to find those areas and those little pockets in downtown that allow people to park, but yet still take to the businesses that are there.
Thank you. Carrie?
That's the perfect answer.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's what we would all say.
We're all going to say the same thing now.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I might add that Linda and I in our business have heard for years about the parking, and we used to always say, well, when there's more business, we'll need more parking. Because we really just haven't needed it. Well, now we do, because quite honestly, it is getting a little crowded there. So I do believe there are pockets that maybe eventually the village could maybe acquire or something to add some parking. It is a challenge. However, I will say, when you go to Powell or other communities, people park a long way away and walk. And I know myself, if I go to Target on Sawmill, I certainly walk further than what a lot of people do to come into my business. So I think it's just going to be kind of an evolutionary kind of thing. But, you know, hopefully there will be opportunities.
Great. Thank you. Tyler?
Well, to answer that right off the top of the head is tough. There's a lot of stakeholders involved to work with. We have our village administration that we can work with to gather ideas. Going off, kind of piggybacking what Carrie and Jim had. I mean, I think they're all great areas, little pockets in town that we can look at to expand on. Like you said, I think where the old administration building is, there's some lots over there. Just behind the library area, there's some lots there that could have some opportunity. There is one area that, you know, if we add to it, which could be beneficial for multiple reasons, is looking at expanding maybe some parking area in our park. That's not too far from the downtown area. So that could be utilized for that, as well as our increased demands, you know, during ball games, during events that are happening down there at the pool, because just going there on a Saturday afternoon, there's hardly any parking at the pool. So, you know, if we can utilize some of the spots around that area, those would be some good spots to look at.
Thank you. Sherry?
I agree. We've got the parking lot improvement being done and hopefully keeping some of the parking behind the old administration building. And like Carrie said, I don't think people mind walking. I don't think anything's too far to walk from.
Having been there for years, 43 years this year, just for me. Yeah, we've had a pretty short walk, so it might be our turn to put our sneakers on and go for it. Yeah, get some exercise.
I'm agreeing with everyone that's been said. I mean, there are pockets in Plain City that we can utilize and, you know, and have more parking. I do agree, like behind the library, you know, that's perfect, you know, parking right there. I don't mind walking when I go to Target, you know, I work at the hospital, you know, we walk, you know, I mean, that's a given. But I'm sure if we do look around, we can find some different areas that we can improve the parking in Plain City.
Thank you. James?
I say we go down, under the ground. 7 layers down, underground parking, and then we can also have underground shops, and it could be like the Plain City Underground, and everybody's like, have you been to the Plain City Underground? Seriously, all of these answers are great. I don't have any new or original ideas, but we have to figure it out. And I am all for trying to dive in there and figure that out and look at what other towns that have gone through the same thing have done, what creative solutions are out there. You know, I'm joking about ripping up the town and putting underground. What creative ideas are there that we could do that are financially responsible, but also solve the problem? So at work, we have the saying that when we run out of ideas, we start pulling lint out of our pocket. You know what I mean? That sometimes that you find that idea in there. And so sometimes you just got to get creative.
So to me, this is a crucial issue. Right when I got on council, we were starting to talk about this parking lot that we're all dealing with now. And the original plan, just so everyone knows, was only take half of that parking lot and improve it for downtown parking. And I pushed and got people together with Mayor Carney and other business leaders to make sure we could actually get the front end behind Lovejoy Plaza and the back end for the village residents for public parking. It was one of the first things I did. I didn't know what I was doing yet, but I got us a parking lot. Well, I helped get us a parking lot. Mayor Carney did most of the work. And basically, from that, I learned that parking is so crucial for all of these businesses downtown. And what you really need to think about beyond just what pockets exist now is as we develop these areas, so as the Mason Lodge area gets redeveloped potentially, can we put parking smartly in up front? So we're not trying to pigeonhole or plug a round peg into a square hole at the end. That is part of the plan going in. And as I've talked to different business owners about this, they're the ones that have the ideas. Ralph Smucker's the one that sits in his office and looks out the window and sees that parking lot every day. And I think that's how you're going to solve the parking spots problem, is you have to have it as part of the infrastructure as you grow. It has to be at the ground level. And we're doing that, and we're trying to do that. And I just hope that you guys let me continue to push for these things, because I'm telling you, we have the opportunity by working with these business owners to get this done.
Thank you so very much. If I could consult with my famous timekeeper here. Some of these answers were somewhat quick, so we know we have to come in to find another question for you. How many more minutes do we really have in our scenario here?
15 minutes. Do you want to survey the audience?
Either that or ask them, because I did walk around the village, I asked business people what some of their primary concerns are. And this is an open-end question, so it'll cause you to think a bit. Describe how you will make a difference when handling village affairs in terms of internal village management and in terms of economic growth. Are you pro? Are you con? What things might you see that would need to be addressed as far as management is concerned? So I'll
Perfect.
flip it around again.
2 minutes.
Here.
Yep.
Let me start. So the economic development to me is crucial. And you know, what we need to start doing is get that communication again up front. We need to put together a group of stakeholders of the businesses, put them in the room and walk them through our plans up front. That is what we're missing. We're missing that communication with the residents, with the village, with the business owners up front. So when you talk about economic growth, I'm in finance and accounting. I'm not a business owner. The people that know that are the people like Carrie that is running a business in town. People like Ms. Brill that's running a business in town. So we need to engage the people we have already, the resources we have in this village, to really spur that growth and make sure it's the right growth, the right businesses, what will actually drive people here. From actual holding administrative accountable, that again, we need to treat it more like a business. Very early on in coming on council, I identified that we did not have a really strong objective and review system. And we've implemented that now for our administration so that we can set deadlines, we can set objectives, and we can set goals for our administration that we can hold them responsible. You guys can hold us responsible with your vote, and then we should be holding the administration responsible for getting what they said they're going to get done, because that's who we pay with our tax dollars to do that.
Thank you. Jim.
Can you repeat the questions without going into
Certainly.
more time?
Describe how you will make a difference when handling village affairs in terms of dealing with internal village management and economic growth.
Okay. For internal village management, I was at the council meeting on Monday. Was that past Monday? No. Week before. There was clearly some angst with a local business owner and management of the village, and things that had been done that didn't seem to be very transparent. And that's not a good place to be as a village. We don't want our business owners to be at odds we want to all work together, like Mr. Terry said. And what I do for a living, I am a manager of people. And there definitely are some things you have to do to put in place to hold people accountable, to set objectives and goals, and then actually, if they're not executing on those, you have to have some tough conversations. And as I look at the org chart, I believe, as Michael said, you are the village residents are the boss of council, and council is the boss of the village administration, and we have to act like the boss sometimes. So, economic. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna run out of time.
40
it's
seconds.
great. We need more of it. We need more of the business. Just hearing what at that council meeting again, you know, the noise ordinance was being discussed. That was fun. And afterwards, I had a conversation with a couple of people that were there, and Tim Dawson, and the collaboration that happened out of that, just in the dark parking lot, was really interesting to see how that some decisions that were made and some ideas that happened about other ways to maybe tackle that issue. And that's the kind of collaboration that he's not in the dark parking
Not in the
lot.
dark alley.
But it's that kind of collaboration that helps with the economic growth. It involves all of the businesses, and I'm sure I'm getting nervous that thing's going to go off, and now I'm getting so I'm done. But
Okay. Thank you for your input.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Question is, describe how you will make a difference when handling village affairs in terms of internal village management and economic growth.
Again, when I said that, you know, us working together as a team, basically here, with the council and the village residents on making good togetherness, I guess I should say, in leading into like the management aspects of everything. I guess what I'm trying to say. Am I getting this? Yeah. And that's what I really want to do. I mean, that's the voices that I want to hear. I want to hear what your problems are, bring them to me so I can bring them to us, and we can build what we need to build for you.
Yeah, I think we need better communication from our administration to us, so we know exactly what's going on and don't have people coming into our meetings asking questions that we didn't really know about. So better communication there. I'm fine with the growth. I think we've focused enough on houses, and it's time to start focusing on businesses.
Very good. Anything else? Is that it?
That's it.
All righty. Tyler.
Okay, I won't ask to repeat the question. So, you know, obviously we've had stuff going on downtown recently with the parking lot and then the sidewalks going on that, quite honestly, the businesses and our stakeholders were almost surprised by, and that is completely unacceptable. You know, our residents and our businesses should not be surprised by anything that's happening in the village, and I think that would be a lack of communication from our village administration. Now, as we look at the town, the council, we are the voice for the residents. That's who's electing us, and it's our job to hold the administration accountable. But the administrator needs to work with us, and we need to work with them, and then we need to make sure that we protect our stakeholders in town, so that we are all working on the same page and know what's going to be happening. As was said, you know, the business owners, they know what's happening, they know what they need, and they need to work, or we need to work with them to make sure that we can meet all those needs. We need to make sure we can meet the needs with the residents and have a plan going forward. When something happens, it shouldn't be by surprise or on a whim. It should be something that's been planned well in advance and should have gone through the process, so that way everybody kind of can have a fair idea of what's going to be happening, and we just need to improve that process.
Good. Ms. Carrie?
100% agree. Communication. I mean, communication's key with everything. If, as a business person, if you have communication, you make a plan for that. Without communication, people get upset, and we all don't like to have to deal with the fallout of that afterwards. So being transparent, upfront, communicating. As far as economic development goes, I'm with Sherry. Embrace it. We have plenty of houses coming in. It's time to look at businesses. Going back with Ms. Perkins when she was on council, we've talked about economic development for years. I would really love to see us put some money where our mouth is, invest in economic development, start knocking on doors, bringing the businesses we want to town, and not just having to be accepting of anybody who comes. So, I mean, I would like to see Plain City go after what we really want for our residents. Thank you.
I could just say I'm going on with everything they have, because everything they've said is exactly what I'd like to see done as well. Communication is key. It's the major development thing that we need. If we're not communicating with our administration, and our administration is not communicating with us, then things don't get out to the residents. And then the residents get upset, or businesses get upset. We need to have that. That is a huge factor that we need to have happen. If something's happening downtown, business should have been informed. Put it on the websites more. Again, we live in an area where you have technology at your fingertips. If you're not getting it out there, then people need to know what's there. On the economic growth, agree. We have the residential stuff coming in like crazy. On the business side, I'd love to see, as I stated before, a business or technology district done up on the 42 district. It would, I think, it'd enable people to be able to, instead of living here and going somewhere else to work, to live and work here. Keep that tax money here. That is hard. I mean, I don't know many people that live here and work here. But and this is a great community. We should be able to have that opportunity. Now, for me, my business is in Grandview where I'm at with my engineering firm. But if there was a firm that was here, I would look at maybe doing here, because I'll tell you what, I loved working from home last year during COVID. It was awesome for me. But that's what I can see. I see that as one of the things that we could go forward with on an economic platform that we have to do.
Great. I'm going to present one more question, and we'll see what the whim of the candidates might be in the audience to see if they might want to ask a few questions. But my next question that I heard more than one time was questions in regards to signage, which has been a long-lasting, everlasting scenario, as well as zoning. One of the gentlemen, you know, when you're here and you go to the hardware store, you get two for one. So I had two guys in front of me. I said, okay, what do you think about this and this? Give me some ideas. And one of them, well, they both indicated signage was an issue. So they're wondering how that might be addressed in the future, as well as the zoning. One of the gentlemen was going to be building another warehouse. He's concerned about the number of hoops and everything he has to go through to be able to build his building. And then after he has invested in his building, I'm not aware of this, but there must be something that says that they would like to have asphalt or blacktop all done at the same time. Well, so those were some of their concerns. So I'm wondering, if you were posed with that question, he comes in and confronts you, what are you going to tell him about signage and about how we might be able to help address some of the zoning problems or issues that they receive?
Jim, you want to start down there?
Sure.
I sat on the design review board, so if it was downtown in the UPCO area, there is standards that they have to meet that were established long ago that are there. So if there's certain signage that he'd have to put up, he'd have to meet with those standards. If it's outside of that district, we'd have to look and see what we have set up for the district, for Plain City. And if we don't have those set up, we need to get those set up because that'll alleviate the questions that are asked. Again, it goes back to communication. If we have things that are established that are there. Now, in regards to planning and zoning, if he wants to build his building, again, we got to go back to see what is zoned for that area. And then step him through. If he's not comfortable, if he's not done it before, then find someone in planning and zoning to come and meet with him as well. Because I don't know everything, and one thing I've learned as being a project manager, you got to find the right people to get the right answers. And if I don't have it, then I'll find someone for that and meet with the person that was there They make it smoother. Maybe step him through the process of going through if he has to make a zoning change. Help him go through that zoning change so he doesn't feel like he's alone or lost or have to jump through hoops. And I've heard that it is hard to be in Plain City to develop sometimes. I've heard from other businesses. Well, we need to maybe break down that and make it easier so the businesses will come instead of think that it's a hindrance to be here.
Well, we're not all experts in every part of the village. So obviously, I mean, I've sat on the Planning and Zoning Committee in the past, but I would definitely direct them to the Planning and Zoning Department that Plain City has to get their questions answered, and assure that person that I could follow up and make sure they're getting the help that they need. It goes back to communication, like Jim said, making sure they understand what they have to do and get guidance, because not everybody knows what they're up against when they decide to build something or make changes. As far as signage goes, signage is key for a business. I mean, we really do. We've talked about it for the past several years about some sort of uptown signage, but it's never gotten very far, and I know we've just had so many other things on our plate that it just hasn't got dealt with. But I would like to see some sort of directional signage in the uptown and maybe other places around Plain City.
So as far as going with the zoning, I think it needs to be cleared up. This summer, dealing with some stuff, talking to our administration.
Goodness, I am so sorry. Sorry, son.
I'm done.
You're done.
Yep, all right, thanks. Go on. No. When I was talking with some of the folks in our administration here, one of the answers I kept hearing was, well, we're rewriting our code. We're rewriting this. So it sounds like there's a lot of cleanup that needs to happen. And, you know, in my business, everything's pretty straightforward. You know, we have flow charts, we have checklists that we go through, and you just have to go through the procedures to get your answers. To be jumping through all these hoops and every business has to go through something different, that shouldn't be the case. There needs to be a standard operating procedure through our zoning administration. So that way it's black and white for businesses to come through. Now I know each business is going to have its own unique circumstances that they want to do something different. We have those appeals process set in place, and we can go through those processes. But it shouldn't be a struggle just to get an answer of how to construct a building, or if blacktop needs to be put in, or how parking spots need to be done. It should be fairly straightforward for that process. And shouldn't be our job as the council to do that, because that's not my expertise. I don't think that's anybody's expertise. That's our staff that we hire, which does fall upon us. So it's our responsibility to make sure that we have the right personnel in place to take care of those challenges and have that set up. When they're coming to us, it's up to us to get that answer and to fix that problem. That's our job as council, make sure we have those problems solved for our businesses. Going with the signage, was sat in one of the council meetings, and as they went through something, I think the whole process here, if I'm not mistaken, it's like you can't even have a sign, which is ridiculous for businesses. How are they going to advertise? So they have to apply for a variance for each sign they put up for their business. That shouldn't be the case. We should have a standard set up there. So for businesses out here on 42, they shouldn't have to come in to get permission just to put up a sign. We need to have our structure set up. Once again, kind of having the SOP set in place for people to come in and know what they can do and what they can put up.
Thank you. Sherry?
I agree with Carrie. I would steer them to the right person and let them know that they would do everything to help them and follow up with them. And with the signage, we are changing some things, and I think that's something we could probably bring up in a work session, and maybe some things need to be changed.
Shelley?
I agree with everyone here. This is all new to me with the zoning and signage, and this is something that I'll really have to hopefully sit on council and work with them and see what we need to do. I mean, communication is key to all this, hopefully I can find out.
Well, when it comes to signage, we just need to look at Michael. He has so many signs.
There's a sign-up sheet outside. Feel free to grab one on the way out the door.
I'm just, I teased him earlier. All right, communication. I had heard that down here. Someone said communication. You said you got 2 for 1 at the hardware store, and 2 people you approached to. Did you approach them, or they approached you? You approached them.
They didn't know what I was up to, that I'd be in this department, so I went after them.
It's a great opportunity to have that, to create communication and get feedback from somebody, to ask, what specifically are the hoops that you are struggling with? And what is it that you think should be done about that? And listen to that and then bring that back to council. Now, I hopefully have time to say this, but I'm on our local homeowner association, and speaking of signs, we found out that we're not allowed to have signs. Yard signs are not allowed, but we got them everywhere. A lot of his, some of mine, and what we looked and we're like, we're not allowed to have signs, and so what do? Because there's signs out, and we need to let people know, but we don't want to be the homeowner association that's sending notes and saying, and people rat out their neighbors and all that stuff. But then we thought, well, we don't necessarily, not everybody minds the signs, so maybe we need to put something in place that allows certain instances where we can have signs and get that into our legislation and into the homeowner association, rewrite things, get votes. So if there are too many hoops and and some of those aren't appropriate, then let's figure out how to fix that. And that's about all I have to add on that. So,
thank you.
First off, I'd like to thank all of our neighbors and supporters for letting us put up the signs. So I thank them right now. But to be honest with you, our zoning code is out of date. It's out of date, and that's why we're going through a rewrite. And if we don't update it and we don't get rid of the red tape, businesses are going to approach Plain City, but they're also going to approach Marysville, and they're going to approach Dublin. And if it takes us 3 months to get something done and everyone else a month, we're going to lose those businesses. So we have to update it. We have to make it make sense. As Plain City grows, we have to be able to scale. I sit on BZA. I sit in these meetings where there are times where everyone in the room knows it's going to pass, that variance doesn't matter, that we have this happening all the time. We need to clean up that red tape so people, residents, businesses don't have to go through that just to get something done, like a parking lot or a pole barn or something like that. Now, on the signage. Signage is important, right? It's important for businesses. We have signage come to BCA meetings all the time. We have to update that code as well. But we also need to remember that we talk about quality of life. We talk about why we came here. We didn't come here for a ton of lighted signs down the main streets. We came here for aesthetics, for a nice quality look. A lot of these businesses have very nice signs, and that's what we need to mirror and match. We just need to make it easier for our businesses to get their signage up and get it out to their customers quicker and easier. That's our job. I'll be done there.
All right. All right. Well, at this time, it's time for us to start closing up. I'd like to have a 1-minute statement from each of you in regards to a closing statement. If you will tell us anything more that you would like us to know about your ideas or values or your personal agenda. I'd like to just go down the row, and Michael, if we could start with you, we'll go the opposite direction this time. If you would share that information with us, so tell us more about your ideas, values, or agenda, anything that we haven't already heard, anything you might have forgotten.
One minute. Yeah. And I think you guys have already heard a lot about my vision and my agenda. I've been on council for over a year now, and my reputation is out there. What I just want to pause and say is how great it is that we have all of these candidates up here, and these are not unopposed positions like they have been in the past. When I've gone and talked to people, they said, "Oh, you're running, so no one's running against you?" No, not this time, because you have a lot of passionate people up here, and I'm very proud to be sitting up here with them, and I can't wait to win or lose, work with all these individuals, because it's so great to have so many people passionate about the village and about the direction of the village.
So I gotta go after the guy that just praised all of us? Oh, gosh, what did I think I shared that I'm a manager. I think I shared, did I share that I manage large budgets? If I didn't, I do. I have a passion. I am a consensus builder, and it does have sounds part of my name in that word, sense. So some of the things I've said up here may have sounded like nonsense. Some of them may have been common sense. But I hope that when you go to vote, you remember James' sense. Imagine what that could do on council. Words sort of thing. All right, sorry.
I did mention that I was on Dublin Methodist Fun Squad. I do want to create some morale boosters here. I want to make people happy. I want to give to people sunshine. I want to show people what Plain City is all about and just let them live through me. You know, basically, I want to give to everyone. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to be able to deliver to what you need and just everyone be happy. That's it.
I think we all have a lot of the same goals. My biggest goal would be probably to get more people at these meetings because, I mean, we're here from you and we want to hear from all of you.
I'm here I just want to be part of this community that we're all proud of. It's great that we're all here, I think, for the same things, and I think we all support each other and wish success for the entire community. I don't have an agenda coming here. I just want to be part of the community and just keep this a place that we're proud of and continue to grow the positive atmosphere that we have here in Plain City. My family, we're active in the area with 2 young kids. I mean, we're at the pool, we're going for walks through the neighborhood. We have a good sense of the community, and I know kind of what the feel and the values of, and just want to help out and serve Plain City best I could.
Thank you. Well, I value open communication, transparency, and leading with integrity. Members of council should be mindful of who they're representing and who they're serving. And residents should also know that they have a voice and it should be heard by council. So that working together as council, administration, and the residents, we want to keep Plain City being a vibrant and a great community to continue to live in. And I look forward to serving. If elected, I would just love to represent Plain City again.
I love this community just like everybody else has said, and I want to keep it the way it is, that small town feel. And we've heard a lot about this tonight. Well, how do we do that? And that's where we have council come together, and we'll do that together. It's not one person's vision, it's not one person's agenda, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help the community bring into what we want. I think I have some experiences in my education and my background that I think I could bring to council that would help that. I've been doing the state projects and company and municipal projects. I know what it might take for that before the growth that's going to have to happen here. I look forward to the growth that's going to happen here and see what happens here. We've been here for 14 years and seen some great things happen. I can't wait for the next 14 to see what happens in this community. This little town is a little gem, and we want to keep that gem. I think we all want to keep that as a gem that we have, and that's our role as council to make sure that that happens.
Well, I wish to thank you all so very, very much for being willing to participate in this and for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, my thought was, well, let's have a consensus. We're going to open up for questions or let everyone speak individually with whomever you might like to.
I'm open for questions.
Pardon me?
Or a live debate. No.
All right, let's, how many, for maybe we go for 20 minutes, is that good?
Sure.
All right.
We'll give each candidate 2 minutes per question. We'll take 2 questions.
Okay.
Who's got any question they want answered?
I'll go ahead and start it. I'm asking for a friend.
administration accountable for everything. Okay, I've worked here since 1996. I worked with a lot of great people, including Renee. I'm not just saying that because she signs the payroll. It took us a lot of years to get people to stay here. When I started here, it was just like a training ground. People come in, we'd hire them, train them, then move on. Like Carrie said, some of the compensation helped. I never took this job to get rich, and I still don't want to get rich. I have a passion for Plain City. I've been here for 25 years. So my question is, you said you want to hold administration accountable, but how are you going to also do that to support administration?
We'll start with Mike. You have 2 minutes to answer the question.
Yeah, so, and Chief knows this, we work together on personnel and finance specifically for the police, not to necessarily give raises that are making anyone rich, but to get us in line with the communities around us. When you look at us and you compare us to the communities around us, that's who is our competition. People want to work in Plain City. People want to work for great bosses. We as an administration need to support that through setting up pay and benefits and a work-life balance that attracts and retains those individuals. We're never going to be able to pay as much as maybe Dublin or Columbus, but we can retain those individuals through training, through giving them a good benefits. And the great thing about Plain City, and especially our police department, is that we have such a great relationship here between the residents and our police that you can't just go and find at another village or city. And that is what we need to maintain and to retain our great employees.
What he said, but also when I look back at my career and the management that I've had, it's always been the management that have supported me regardless of it. I stuck around because of their support of me, their belief in me, regardless of the pay a lot of times. And one of the things I like to do with my staff is I trust them to do the jobs that they're hired to do, and I give them all the support they need to do that. I don't walk around as a micromanager with my thumb on anybody unless there's a reason to, and usually there isn't, because most of the folks I work with are professional. They love their job, and they do it because they love the job they do. And it's not necessarily related to the pay that they're getting, but pay is important, right? We've gone through several times where we look and say, their pay isn't appropriate. We need to figure out how to make it appropriate. And so it all comes down to communication. We've heard that a lot tonight, but also supporting you by giving you the tools you need to do the job that we need you to do. And that's it.
I'm with them. I honestly don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I'm lost for words.
My big thing is with the communication, because we only meet 3 times a month. We're not here every day to see what they're doing, and I don't like coming into a meeting and people asking questions and we're sitting there looking at each other like we had no clue. So just better communication.
I think going, what was said down here with Michael, first and foremost, everybody has to make a living. So if we're not even in the ballpark for these positions, who are we going to get to work that, or how long are they going to want to stay? So we want to make sure that we are competitive and we can bring in the right people. I think our goal when we hire people is we want to retire people. I think, you see that on trucks going by. I mean, I think that should be our goal with the people that we have. You look like our schools, we have teachers who've been here for so long, who live in this community, work in this community. That's what we want with everybody that we hire. We want them to be involved. But we also need to make sure that we have great people in those positions. I think probably every one of us would agree. We would probably sit at a job that probably doesn't pay as much as some other place. But if we're working with great people and have great support with that, we would probably take that as a sacrifice. I think what we've been hearing through all of us is that, we like this town. I think this town will give that support to the people. And it's our job as council. We got to make sure that we're set up to have the right people in place to make sure we grow with them.
Yeah, so back to your accountability question, though. sometimes I think that employees see that as a little bit of a negative connotation to it, maybe, like, how are they gonna hold me accountable? I don't know, I see it all as a team effort kind of thing. What I really liked about being on Personnel and Finance was you're in the meetings. I like hearing communication from you about what's needed in your department, why it's needed, as well as the fiscal officer, what her needs are, the village administrator. So that, and that's council's responsibility, is to hear all of that and communicate back and forth, so that we address all the needs of all the departments. And I hope that's being done, but I would, if elected, I would certainly like to continue in that. But I think that accountability comes from the communication and just the teamwork.
And I like what you said, because I'm not just talking about the police department, and I think everyone up there, but, we have one of the finest public works department in the state, so I want to throw that in there also. I'm not just talking about my department. I love every one of my guys, and I'm glad that they're staying here. We got guys that's been here 20 years now. So, and then, my young guys are here 5 years, and we never used to have that. So I just want to throw that in there. I'm not just talking about the police department, I'm talking about all departments.
Well, in all part, everywhere I've worked and where I've liked, I've been around people that liked being there. And if you like where you're at, then it makes it much easier to come in. You may, as it's been stated up here, you may take a little less money to be in an environment that is more productive, more positive, more outgoing, or whatever that person needs. Some people you have to have a thumb on, some people you don't. Yeah. And you need to read the people that are around you. It's not just seeing what their production is. Maybe they're doing something. I went into an interview once, and they asked me what my negative thing would be for me, and I said, listen, I talk a lot to my employees, but I said, I'll tell you within 30 days, I'll tell you what it will take to get that person to do the job for me. Are they someone that wants to be time with their family? Well, I'll throw out there, if you help me out, I'll see if we can get a couple more days for you. You can go on vacation for this weekend or whatever. Or do they want the money? They want the incentive. Each person wants to be inside, has an incentive that's different. You have to read those people. Same thing with council and with the administration. We need to know who they are. We just can't be the 6 individuals up here and not see the administration. We have to work with them. We are one team. It's not council administration. You got to bring everybody together. And then when that happens and everybody's talking together, when you have the communication, things get done. And then, especially if administration doesn't think they have a voice and council doesn't hear them, they're not going to trust council, and then council's not going to trust the administration. We have to have that work together.
Okay, thank you.
Have time for one more question. There's a hand that's shooting up right there. Yes, ma'am. What's your question?
My name is Christy Hatcher. I am the owner of Little E's Ice Cream. And I am a big supporter of Mayor Carney. She's doing a very good job. I guess for my business, since we're not in uptown or downtown, which has been discussed a lot here in Plain City or in this meeting, a lot of people know our family owns that business, but what people don't know, and Carrie actually came up and asked me and my husband today, is we own the lot 42 and Perry Pike behind Shell. And my husband wants to develop it. I think the village has a lot of views on what can we do for uptown or downtown. But what are you doing? Why should we want to develop that lot?
We'll start with Jim. We'll give you 2 minutes.
We need that developed. That is a little gem on 42 that we need to have done. A couple of years ago, there was an opportunity to develop that. Yeah, my firm had the design. We had the plan in our office. At least one of us, there was one of the plans that was there. I remember seeing it. And I remember the headache that went through our office trying to get things done and jump through the hoops to make sure everything was planned right and get everything there. To the point that when they found out I lived out here, I got pulled in by my bosses and saying, what's going on? Who do we need to talk to get things done out here? That shouldn't have to happen for businesses to be able to do that, to have somebody that's inside of a company to know what to do. And even then, I didn't know who it was at that point. What do we have to do to get that happen? That is a great area. I'd love to see that developed. Because if you look, we've got Shell, we've got other business now, and we got this hole that's there. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we need to sit down, the committee or council has to sit down with you and see what we can do to help you out and get that done. and get that established.
So the focus is on downtown and uptown?
Not for me. I think 42 is where 42 in downtown, both of them, if you think of it, but we have the opportunity to have two great areas in town to be developed. The 42 area and downtown. I don't see why we can't sit and look at both. We don't have to focus just on one. I mean, right now we're seeing a lot of work that's being done there, but I can't see why we shouldn't be able to develop where you have land. That's a great area. And there's businesses that need to come here. And I don't know what you're thinking of bringing in, but that's where you maybe have to sit down with council and say, all right, this is what we're thinking of bringing, then this is, all right, maybe we can help you out in doing this and put you in front of people that can help you.
And I'm sure you already have seen the comprehensive plan that was put together from 2018, and I believe that that's mixed use over there. So, I mean, as before, when we took a look at what was proposed for that area, I don't think at that time council felt that they necessarily were fulfilling the needs of the mixed use because of the frontage on 42 and what would have liked to have seen at the time versus something different that goes off of Perry Pike. But I see that as being a really much needed development area. And I mean, I'm excited to take a look at what could go there. I think 42 is a fantastic place to put a business for the right kind of businesses. But we also do need, I mean, other uses too. Apartments aren't all bad. It's just where do they fit in?
Not knowing exactly the lots, I know the area a little bit, but as far as the size, what would fit in there, and trying to come up, visualizing here in a minute or two. Obviously seeing what's going on. We know there's a big housing development that's going right up there on Perry Pike. Unfortunately, I think Perry Pike needs to get fixed and developed there, which would be in partnership with the lots that are there. It's unfortunate with some of the housing that's right along the road. There's going to have to be some changes because there's just going to be a lot of traffic going back in that area. A vision of how it could be developed business-wise, maybe similar how, this road, Village Boulevard, is if you put kind of a road through the middle and then you can kind of open up on both sides of the lot so you have frontage for multiple businesses on two sides of the arc. What could go in there? Obviously a lot of neighborhoods right here, so it'd be a great place for a grocery store. I know we're kind of lacking one of those, unfortunately, now. But I think there's going to be demand with that one. With the housings that's going to be there's going to be a lot of demand here. So, downtown needs the development. But here shortly in the next few years, you're going to have a lot of residential that's going to have some needs over here. Across the street from lot is the Shell station. There's also a pretty big business that we're familiar with. I know I'm there every Saturday getting some donuts. So it's definitely something that has a local draw. So there's a lot of potential over there that would be very beneficial to the community.
I agree with all of them. I think it needs developed, and I'm excited to see what kind of businesses come in and where they go.
I also agree with everyone here, and I'm so excited to see what it is. I mean, a family-owned business right here in Plain City, I think that's wonderful. I think that your mindset is just amazing.
I do, you guys have heard of Christmas Under the Clock? It's something we do here in Plain City. So I'm kidding. I'm sure you guys don't know what it is. Anyways, every year we go to Christmas Under the Clock and we get on the hayride, and it drops us off down at Perry's hardware store. And then we have to walk through snow and all kinds of, to get to those other businesses, almost like they don't want us to go to those other businesses. So I think we need more businesses so that I don't have to walk up to my knees in snow to get to those other ones up there. So I would like to see expansion on that 42 corridor coming out as well. I think it's a good idea, and we need more businesses to get people here. I mean, we need good stuff, So that's it. That's all I go ahead. Try and talk and keep going. I still have time.
So it's a great question. We've been hearing for years, like the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. If we build this residential, we'll get the commercial. And, we haven't gotten that push, and council has failed on that, and we're all responsible for it. And I think it goes back to what Ms. Ferguson was talking about, of really investing in that economic development. And it can't be only the businesses coming to us. We have to go out and search and seek and get the attractive businesses that we want, that our residents want. A daycare, a grocery store, all the things that we can help support the residential. That's what we need to do. We've built it. We are building it. It's time for them to come, and it's time for us to cut down that red tape and put our resources not into just attracting residential homes and developers that are going to come and knock on our door without us asking. It's time for us to go seek out and help the businesses cut down on the red tape and come to Plain City. And we all want that. None of us want to drive a half hour away to spend our dollars, and tax dollars go to that village or to that city. We want it here. It's time for us to step up, invest in economic development, and really push and help our businesses, as opposed to just saying, well, we have the houses, you guys do the other work. It's time for us to support them.
Very good. Well, again, I'd like to thank all of the candidates, and especially thank everyone for coming with their questions and so on. Thanks again. We'll have a few minutes. I think we have the building for a little bit longer. They haven't locked us out yet. So if you would like to mingle with some of these candidates and ask them your personal questions, you're more than welcome to do so. Thanks again for coming. Thank you.